Next chapter of the audiobook of The Go Giver is The Law of Compensation. When Joe appeared the next day at noon at the reception desk for Learning System for Children Inc., he was met by a robust woman in her late 60s with a huge brass nameplate on her desk that read simply Marge. Here to meet the CEO. Are you? The chub, and without waiting for an answer, stuck out her hand. Marge. Yes. He looked around nervously, wondering where Pinder was. Am I early? Mr. Pinder, he left a message, said he will be right along. Don't worry, I will write up in conference room. Nicole, see after you, bring you a cup of tea. Joe. She laughed at her own inadvertent joke. Joe followed the woman down a bright corridor. She opened the door to the conference room. Joe began to step inside and stopped dead in his tracks. What on earth? This was like no conference room Joe had ever seen. He had expected to find a long mahogany conference table polished to a sheen, equipped with the latest in teleconferencing units. Instead, the room was lined with small wooden tables littered with tub of modeling clay, pipe cleaner of all colors, piles of construction paper, and an endless array of crayons. But it was not the way the room was furnished that left Joe staring. It was the chaos that filled the room. About a dozen people, ranging in age from their late 20s to early 60s, stood talking and laughing at once, all of them busily engaged in what looked to Joe like the delirious pursuit of making a mess. Some smooshed together lump of modeling clay, others smudged finger paints on the easels. One woman gazed at the inscrutable tangle of pipe cleaner she held in one hand, as serious as Hamlet regarding Yorick's skull. Joe gaped. He had stepped out of the world of corporate culture and fallen back through time to kindergarten classroom. Oops, without batting an eye. Marge simply closed the door again and marched down the hall to the next room, beckoning Joe to follow. Other conference room, I guess. In a daze, Joe managed to mumble his thanks as Marge clicked the door closed behind him. Joe found himself alone in a room outfitted much like the one he would just seen. He walked slowly to the center of the room. Joe whirled to find himself face to face with a smiling young woman. Joe caught a smoky, familiar scent and saw that she carried a glass press pot of coffee. Hi, I'm Nicole. She flashed a smile that made Joe want to reach for his sunglasses. You must be Joe. Joe nodded. Pinder called. He will be here in 2 minutes. Would you like some coffee? While you wait, it is likely to be the best coffee you have ever tasted. Please. Joe finally found his voice again. Thank you. As Nicole began pouring a cup for him, he looked around the room and asked, So, am I really going to meet with the CEO? That is what I hear, she replied. Yes, but I mean, are we really meeting in here? She glanced around. It is a little different. A little? It is wide. Thanks, she said. Joe looked at her in surprise. You had something to do with this. She looked all around the room, appreciatively noting every detail. I came up with the design of the room and pretty much put it all together. Let me guess. You have kids? She let loose with a laugh like honey. Do I ever? Seems like million. She noticed Joe's expression and laughed again. Grade school I am a teacher, she explained, used to be anyway before I worked here. Joe glanced at the walls again. Nicole smiled. Believe it or not, adults really do meet in this room and they get quite a lot done. You would not believe what finger painting and modeling clay can do for a bunch of stuck in their hands grown-ups. I guess, Joe said. He nodded towards the room next door. So, was that a... Joe struggled to find a way to finish his question. Was that a what? A focus group or something? Parents? Nicole smiled. Those are the company's top marketing executives. They are brainstorming ideas for opening the next group of overseas markets. The company's top marketing executives. Before Joe could ask more, he heard the quiet whoosh of the opening door and the warm rasp of their familiar storyteller's voice. Hello, Pinder stepped into the room, strode over to the young woman, and warmly took her hand in his. Nicole, thanks so much for making the time to meet my young friend. I told him he needed to talk with a bona fide genius. The woman blushed. A bona fide genius? Joe tried his best to hide his astonishment. He had already been talking with the CEO. Nicole Pinder continued, please meet Joe, my newest friend, Joe Nicole Martin. Nicole runs one of the most successful educational software companies in the country. But you are so young. Joe felt a little foolish saying this, but the woman looked about his own age. Not nearly as young as my customer, she replied with a smile. Pinder sat down cross-legged at one of the low wooden tables and began rumming around in the large paper sack he would carried in with him. We market a series of learning programs to school systems throughout the United States, Canada, and 13 other countries. Nicole explained, but don't worry, she added, flashing and dazzling smile. One of these days we are really going to be big. While Nicole spoke, Pinder drew out of the sack 3 sandwiches, each carefully wrapped in wax paper, followed by 3 little glass bottles of mineral water. Okay, boys and girls, he announced lunchtime. While they ate the lunch Pinder had brought, Joe learned the history of learning system for children and its founder Nicole Martin. Nicole had been a talented grade school teacher. The parents loved her approach to teaching and her students loved her. But Nicole was not happy. She felt constrained by a system that was geared to teaching children only how to memorize and recite. Over time, she devised a series of games and engaged the kids' creativity and intellectual curiosity. She was thrilled to find that her inventions helped the children learn and grow, but she grew frustrated with the fact that she couldn't help more than 20 or 25 kids at a time and she was barely surviving on her teacher's salary. I expect you already know the first law of stratospheric success, she asked Joe. Your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment, Joe replied. Very good, she said. Gold star, but doing that doesn't necessarily mean that the payment you receive will increase. Joe was relieved to hear her say this. He would thought the same thing the day before when he first heard Ernesto explain this law. The first law determines how valuable you are, Nicole continued. In other words, your potential success, how much you could earn, but it is the second law that determines how much you actually do earn. One day, while in conference with the parents, Nicole had mentioned how much the kids enjoyed the game she would created and how much they seemed to benefit from them. Knowing this dad was a software engineer, she asked if she could hire him to take a look at them to see if it would be possible to program them to run on computers. He agreed. The next week, Nicole met with the software designer again, and this time she brought along a school mom who ran a small marketing and advertising business. A few days later, the three formed a company together. Nicole managed to find some seed capital through a friend of a friend, a man she simply called the connector. There is that connector again, thought Joe. He would have to remember to ask Pinder about that. Within a few years, their fledgling educational software company was doing over $200 million in annual sales worldwide. As founder and CEO of Learning System for Children Inc., Nicole also did consulting for school systems, homeschooling organizations, and educational researchers around the country. Through LSC, we expect to touch the lives of 20 to 25 million kids, she pointed out, and that, in a nutshell, is the second law, the law of compensation. Your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. She paused, then added, or to put it another way, your compensation is directly proportional to how many lives you touch. Nicole sat and quietly finished her sandwich, giving Joe a chance to let the law of compensation sink in. After a brief silence, she began thinking out loud. You know, I always thought it seemed so unfair, he began, how movie stars and top athletes pull down those huge salaries, or how CEO and corporate founders could marshal such gigantic earnings. No offense, he added hastily. She graciously nodded and gestured for him to go on, but people who were doing such great work, such noble work, like school teachers, never got paid what they are worth. It always seemed arbitrary. But what you are saying is It is not just a question of their value, it is question of impact. Nicole and Pinder exchanged brief, excellent glances, delighted at how quickly Joe had grasped this law. Exactly, exclaimed Nicole. And there are two amazing things about this. First, it means that you get to determine your level of compensation. It is under your control. If you want more success, find a way to serve more people. It is that simple. Joe thought that over for a moment, then nodded. And the other amazing thing, it also means there are no limitations on what you can earn because you can always find more people to serve. The Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. once said, everybody can be great because anybody can serve. Another way to say that might be, everybody can be successful because anybody can give. Pinder was watching Joe closely. Now he spoke up. You have a question. Joe nodded. He asked Nicole, I am curious about that first meeting, the one with the software dad and the marketing mom. Didn't it occur to you that they might just take your ideas and run with them? Nicole looked puzzled. Run with them? I mean, steal them. Run with the whole idea and cut you out of the picture. Nicole smiled. To tell you the truth, I never gave it a thought. All I could think about was how much good we could accomplish. She looked pensive, then gave a rueful laugh. But I did go through an interesting period of adjustment, and that is when I really started to understand the law of compensation. Joe glanced around the playroom, conference room. He flashed back to his kindergarten days and laughed. I sure used to plenty of them. Your life works the same way, she said. You just make it up. Being broke and being rich are both decisions. You make them up. Right up here. She tapped her finger to her temple. Everything else is just how it plays out. Joe thought back in the Saturday morning conversation with Pinder. What you focus on is what you get. All at once, Joe heard a big whoop coming from the conference room next door, followed by a restaurant cheer, and broke into scattered laughter and applause. Nicole smiled. I think we just found our new Asia Pacific marketing plan. Pinder was on his feet, picking up the wrappers and bottles from their lunch, and before he knew it, Joe was shaking hands with Nicole and thanking her for her time. What is on your agenda for tomorrow, Joe? Joe looking inspiringly towards Pinder. Tomorrow we are going to visit Sam, he said. Ah, said Nicole. You are going to love Sam. Sam is Nicole's chief financial advisor, explained Pinder. Mine too. As Pinder gave Nicole a hug and said his goodbyes, Joe glanced around the room. He looked at the easels and fingers paints, the clay and construction paper, and all the other kindergarten paraphernalia, and a thought struck him. They make up stories, he mused to himself. They sit here in this room and make up stories. They paint them and model them and then go make them happen all over the planet. $200 million worth. You just make it up, she had said. And this is the end of this chapter. The second law is the law of compensation. Your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them.